How's it going, everybody? It's Sam here, and welcome back to the Morbid Vale. Today, we have a superhero born of evil. But first, if you haven't seen our previous build, then click the pop-up now to view it. Now let's get to the reason why you clicked on this video today, and introduce you to the cold-hearted pillar of justice, the Banisher. Maya was an innocent child, no more than 4 years old when the cult of worms began to spread their black magic across the Somerset Isles. Hundreds of Altmer men and women were captured and sacrificed to Molag Bal, including this young girl. She was bound and laid upon the altar, but before she was slain, Manimarco ceased the ceremony. He removed the bonds from the child and picked her up in his arms. He told her that he would keep her safe, and that he would teach her all he knew. The girl had lost her entire family, and believed Manimarco genuinely cared for her, but all he desired was to use her for his own purposes. Manimarco raised the child, teaching her everything he could about the arcane arts. At 18 years old, Maya discovered the true reason why Manimarco had saved her from the altar. The King of Worms sent Maya through an oblivion gate, telling her that all she needed to do was steal a sigil stone. Maya, confident and proud, went into the Deadlands, and after hours of traveling through the fiery wasteland, finally found the sigil stone her master told her of. As she reached for it, Manimarco appeared and seized the stone. He thanked her for making the journey, and said that he had no further use for her. Confused, Maya asked why he had no use for her. The King of Worms explained that the only way he could obtain the most powerful phylactery was if he sacrificed someone of equal power to Mehrunes Dagon. At that point, a thundering voice echoed, and Dagon appeared. He took Maya, who screamed for Manimarco to save her, but all her adopted father did was grin as he opened a portal and returned to Tamriel. For millennia, Maya was tortured, murdered, and ravaged by Dagon and his Dremora generals. Every time she died, Dagon brought her back. If she died of old age, he would rejuvenate her. Day and night she suffered new and unthinkable acts at the hands of the Daedra, never given a moment of rest. Her powers were siphoned from her and used to fuel the Oblivion Gates during the Oblivion Crisis. When the hero of Cyrodiil came to destroy the gates, she hoped that he had come to save her, but he knew nothing of her imprisonment. After Dagon was defeated, he turned his rage over to Maya, believing she somehow sabotaged his gates. Never had Dagon touched the Altmer woman with his bare hands, always having used magic or weapons when he personally tortured her. For the next 200 years, Maya was brutally beaten by Mehrunes Dagon himself. As he unleashed his rage, Maya somehow absorbed some of his power into herself. And one night, as he prepared to beat her to death once again, Maya broke free from her chains and threw Dagon into the nearby pit of lava. She ran for hours until she found a cave, and inside she found a small oblivion gate. It took every ounce of magic and concentration she could muster, and she finally opened the gate. She jumped through and fell 50 feet from the sky onto the ground below. For 3 days, Maya was unconscious, and when she finally awoke, she found herself on a cart with strangers. She'd escaped the Deadlands, only to be taken to Helgen for her execution. Maya was broken, knowing that this time she would not be resurrected, and feared being lost in the void. But at the same time, she was equally terrified that Dagon would reclaim her soul, and the torment would begin again. As she prepared for death, Alduin the World Eater appeared, and inadvertently saved her life. Maya fled Helgen with the help of Hadvar, and stayed with his uncle's family where she finally felt safe. Now for the skills that Maya develops over her travels. After leaving Alvor's home, Maya attempted to regain her magical powers. However, she was unable to use any of the destruction spells for too long, and so gave up on that school of magic. Through much meditation, Maya began to tap into only two other schools of magic, alteration and restoration, both of which she used to combat the undead and Daedric abominations. She quickly discovered her increased strength, and she realized that she still possessed some of Dagon's brute strength within her. She began to hone her skills in combat, favoring dual-wielding techniques and heavy armor. Over time, she became a force to be reckoned with, massacring enemies before they could lay a single hit on her. Through her travels, Maya also discovered that she had a strong connection to the Plains of Oblivion, and was able to reach into the realms to summon Atronachs to her aid. In addition to this, she was still quite knowledgeable about enchanting, and used her skills to enchant not only her gear, but the gear of her greatest ally, Farkas. She also learned much from Eoland Greymane, and became a master blacksmith. Now for the gear used by Maya to combat her foes. Early on, Maya uses any heavy armor, always swapping the pieces out when she finds a stronger one. She makes it a habit to keep her face hidden so no one sees the scars, and so Dagon's eyes cannot find her. She eventually settles on wearing a cultist mask, as it resembles a nightmarish skull. Maya also wears the ebony mail, which may come as a bit of a surprise. She takes a sellsword to Boethia, seeing them as worthless warriors who are bound only by coin and completely lack any honor. After obtaining the ebony mail, Maya uses some restoration and blood magics to sever Boethia's hold over it, and forever binding it to herself. The other items of Maya's gear are infused with powerful enchantments to help keep her safe in combat, and mutilate her enemies faster. As for her weapons, Maya chooses to dual-wield Scourge, one of Malakath's Daedric artifacts, which can send the Daedric abominations back to oblivion. The second mace is known as the Light of Day, a strong mace that burns the undead with holy sunlight. Now for the gameplay. After obtaining all of her final gear and discovering her true Dragonborn abilities, Maya gives up her name. With Scourge, the Light of Day, and the Ebony Mail, Maya takes up the mantle of the Banisher, swearing upon every soul that has ever been deceived by those they love that she will bring all the traitors and Daedra to justice. When she interacts with her fellow mortals, she is kind and sincere, but should anyone push her too far, she will not hesitate to push back. She also has a deep need to prove herself and will always take on a quest to help others, no matter how difficult or tedious it may be. As time goes on, she realizes that she can't do everything on her own, and that she needs help carrying the burden of justice. Her trusted follower Farkas helps her in slaying Daedra and degenerates, such as the Bandits and Dark Brotherhood. Together they slay hundreds of undead and abominable creatures, all while bringing justice to the disgraced dead. In combat, she will typically have a Flame Thrall and a Frost Thrall at her side, refraining from most other conjuration spells, as she came to detest necromancy and the creatures that are raised with it. She never shies away from a battle, and will charge head-on to combat any foe, no matter how powerful they may be. With Farkas and the Thralls at her side, the Banisher will do everything in her power to bring justice to Tamriel. Now for the timeline. Immediately after leaving Alvor's home, the Banisher is drawn to Bleak Falls Barrow, wanting to test herself against the undead that likely hide within. However, she does not return the Golden Claw, knowing that it does not belong in the collection of an obviously sleazy merchant. After she leaves the barrow, she makes her way to Whiterun, where she informs Jarl Balgruuf of the dragon attack on Helgen. Not long after, she slays a dragon and learns that she is in fact the legendary Dragonborn. However, rather than heeding the call of the Greybeards, the Banisher joins up with the companions and helps them and the people of Skyrim. Once she learns of their werewolf blood, she takes a step back, wary of the Daedric curse that lingers within them. After she learns all she can about Hircine, she determines that he is not like the other Daedra and accepts his gift. Not long after, she is made the harbinger of the companions and leads them to help free Kodlak of his curse. With the help of Farkas, the Banisher continues to hone her Dragonborn power, slaying many dragons that ravage the land. Despite this, she still does not have enough power to fully protect the innocent.
With the help of the Greybeards and the Blades, she obtains the power she needs to become a better protector of Skyrim. However, Delphine orders her to kill Parthenax, and while she understands why she wants the old dragon to die, the Banisher cannot bring herself to do it, especially after listening to the young girl in Rorikstead.
I had a dream that there was a good dragon. He was old and gray, but he wasn't scary.
After defeating the World Eater, the Banisher turns her attention to another undeniable threat. She has slain many of the strange cultists, and finally heads to Solstheim to confront this Miraak. Once on the island, the Banisher can tell that something is clearly wrong, and does not waste any time in seeking out the Dragon Priest. With the help of her allies, she uncovers ancient secrets, and finally fights Miraak one-on-one. However, when she sees Hermaeus Mora kill Miraak, she realizes that she has been a pawn for the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, and leaves the island as soon as she returns from Apocrypha. Filled with regret, the Banisher seeks to bring justice to more foes, and soon finds herself aiding the Dawnguard against the vampire menace. She meets Serana, and though she is a vampire, the Banisher can sense something different about her. Together, the two rid Skyrim of Harkon and the rest of the Volkihar clan. Despite all of her great feats, there is still a darkness looming over the world, and the Banisher knows just what to do. She goes to seek out all of the Daedric princes and obtains their favor. She claims their artifacts for herself and gifts Dawnbreaker to her loyal friend Farkas. As for the other artifacts, excluding a select few, she takes to the Time Distortion using the wooden mask. She stores all of the artifacts there, forever keeping them from the grasps of the Daedric princes. Now let's talk about the mighty powers and techniques used by the Banisher. Pure Soul is used against the undead. The Banisher summons her Flame and Frost Thralls before summoning a Guardian Circle. She blocks the entrance with her circle, forcing the undead into the same small room as the Atronach Thralls. Should her Thralls be defeated, the Banisher will use the following power. Potent Justice is performed by the Banisher turning ethereal, casting mass paralysis, and slaying every abomination and degenerate nearby. Ravenous Beast is the most dangerous of the Banisher's abilities. When she faces against multiple, powerful enemies, she will heed the call of the beast blood and transform into a werewolf. However, she has little control in this form. She will refrain from harming allies, but she will not stop killing and feeding until she tires and reverts back to her mortal form. Sometimes she may stay in that form for days at a time. The largest problem with this is Farkas. He will do his best to protect her from others while she's in the beast form, and may kill some of her other allies. The scent of their blood will drive Maya crazy, and she will be unable to resist the hunger. After cleansing Skyrim of all the undead and Daedra, the Banisher decides that it is time to settle down. She finally gives into her feelings and marries her greatest ally, Farkas. The two settle in the Tundra homestead just outside the walls of Whiterun. Afterwards, they decide to adopt two children, a son and a daughter. Blaise, who they met in solitude, and Sissel, who they rescued from an abusive family. Not long after they adopt their children, Farkas and Maya decide to cure themselves of lycanthropy so as to not risk harming their children. Together, Maya and Farkas teach their children how to defend themselves, and how to live good lives and treat others well. The two put up their weapons and live a quiet, peaceful life with their children, until the Daedric War. 3 years after they retired to raise their family, the Daedric princes invaded Skyrim. They were furious with Maya, each unable to find their artifacts which she had hidden inside of a ripple of time. All of Skyrim was thrown into complete bloody chaos, and Maya was left no other choice. She took hold of her maces and drank Aella's blood once more. Before she could face any of the Daedric princes, she was caught up to the Nexus, the realm that connects all other realms. With the Divines stood Hircine, Nocturnal, Meridia, Azura, Malakath, Clavicus Vile, and Sheogorath. All of the Divines and Daedric princes who gathered gifted Maya with new powers and placed their protection around her, even Clavicus Vile and Sheogorath, who did not care that she had hidden their artifacts. Before they sent her back to Skyrim, Sheogorath placed his hand upon her shoulder, and apologized for not saving her from Dagon 200 years prior, saying that if he had known she was there, he would have saved her. As he said those words, the Prince of Madness slowly transformed back into his true form, that of the hero of Cyrodiil. With the power of the Divines and Daedric princes, along with their armies, the Banisher waged war against the Dark Alliance. Periite, Hermaeus Mora, Sanguine, and Vermina fell in the first month. Molag Bal, Boethia, Mephala, and Namira followed months later. All that remained was Mehrunes Dagon. When the Banisher confronted him, she removed her mask and glared at the Daedric prince. Dagon's eyes burned with hatred, and that hatred gave Maya the perfect opening. She leapt, and in an instant severed Dagon's head and arms from his body. All of the most evil Daedric princes had finally been slain. Their realms crumbled to dust without their presence, and finally Tamriel was at peace. While Clavicus, Vile, and Barbas returned to their realm, the Divines, which now included Hersing, Nocturnal, Meridia, Azura, Malkath, and the reformed hero of Cyrodiil, came down and stood upon the outskirts of Cyrodiil. There they proclaimed that Maya was now the true Empress of Tamriel. Through her reign and her lineage, peace would endure in Tamriel forever. We hope you enjoyed our latest Skyrim build, the Banisher. If you like our content, then please click that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified of our future videos. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all here next time on The Morbid Veil.